Hi, this is Seid with Cascadia Workshops. This particular video is on social support, and one of the reasons that this topic is so important is because so many couples struggle under the mythology that you have to figure everything out on your own. And we tend to overlook the possibilities when you consider that couples and families actually exist in the context of community. So I've been together with my wife for many, many years, and when we get stuck is when both of us are really needing to get heard. And what gets in the way of me being present to her or to you or to anyone is if I have too much stuff going on. So in those situations, we're both needing to get heard and neither one of us is getting it. So we have this understanding, this agreement that we can actually pause those conversations if they're actually stuck or if we're just escalating. Pause the conversation and either one of us can turn to people outside of the two of us in order to get some compassionate understanding, and that the intention in reaching out to these people is to support the relationship. So it's people that both of us trust, and they're not there to give us advice and suggestions. They're not there to give us more ammo. You're right, he is a beep. And they're not there to give us their story. Oh, that's nothing. Let me tell you about what happened to me the other day. It's really just to offer a compassionate support, just listening. As a result of that empathic presence, I get more connected to what's important to me. I re-enter the conversation with less emotional charge, and I enter the conversation with a little more clarity about what is it that I would like back from the other person in that moment. So the social support is really valuable in that way. I've done a lot of work over the years with couples and families, and my recommendation is that each person have a list of 3 to 10 people on speed dial, somebody that you can call at a moment's notice in order to get that kind of support. Now, the last time that I had a serious freak out, I called the first person on my list. They didn't answer their phone. I called the second person on my list. It wasn't a good time for them. I called the third person on my list. They were available to talk. When I was done with that person, the first person called me back and I got a little extra support, and like that. So I really encourage you to have a list of 3 to 10 people that you can turn to in a moment's notice when you're needing that kind of support. One of the problems with this idea in actual practice is that most people don't know how to offer us that kind of support. Most people will give us their story, or they'll agree with us, which sometimes is the last thing we need when we're in a very judgmental space, or they'll simply try to give us advice or suggestions or try to fix a problem. So what I can do is coach my friends, and I'll say, excuse me, friend, I hear that you have something that you'd like to tell me, but really the kind of support that I'm reaching out to you for is, I'm wondering if you'd just be willing to listen. Just listen for maybe 10 or 15 minutes. At the end of that, maybe I'll ask you to tell me back what it is you're hearing is really important to me. So we can coach our friends if they don't already have the skills. Likewise, if somebody's coming to me for that kind of support, I need to be really clear whether or not it works for me in that moment. I told a friend of mine not that long ago, when she came to me with a request, I said, I'm really glad that I get to say no to you right now so that you can really trust my yes. So I want you to be clear whether or not it works for you, and then simply remember that it's about being present and listening. Now, if I do have advice, let's say that I have advice for someone and I think it would be really helpful, I would do that after the listening and I would check in. So I might say, hey, I'm thinking of something that I think would be really helpful. Are you open to hearing that right now? A few days ago, I said that to someone and they said, no, I'm not open to hearing it. And I wasn't attached to giving that person my advice or suggestions. They weren't open to hearing it, and it would have created frustration for both of us if I had insisted on sharing it and if they were not in a good place to hear it. So very often I'll just check in. Hey, is this a good time? I have something that I think could be really helpful. If you want more tips on how to do empathy, how to offer others empathic support, I have a video on YouTube titled How to Do Empathy, and I recommend that you go check that out. So signing off for now, with regard to social support, Alan Seid with Cascadia Workshops and the Black Belt Communication Skills online program.